Hi, Stuart.
Yes.
First, I want to thank you so much for providing this space for us. I can't always make it, but I'm so thankful that I can go there when I can and have what you give. Uh,
Well, Rafi, when you're here, I'm very happy to see you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what I wanted to see if you can talk a little bit about intuition, except like uh, taking it in and following it in many ways.
Well, it's very interesting that you asked this because I'm writing a book now, and it basically is a book that is I had these talks I give transcribed, and I'm making them sound like English. In the transcription, it's almost like Chinese. You can barely make out what I'm talking about, but I can get what I'm talking. And the one I'm working on right now is called Intuition. Exactly what it's called. And I'm about halfway finished with it. But to me, intuition, it's a very important element in not only a spiritual life, but in living in the world. Because that first impression, that initial instinct that you get when you meet another person, when you have to make decisions, it's usually a decision that really comes before the thinking process, mulling it over, and creating a lot of confusion in your brain. And it's usually a decision through instinct that is a right-on decision. It's that same energy that creates great music. It's that same energy that creates great art. It's that same energy that comes through you when you restored that table that I gave you to restore. It's the exact same energy. It's the energy of instinct, the energy of inspiration. It's a pure energy. And the crime is that people have these instincts and they're right on instincts in most cases. And they start thinking about it, examining it, wanting to know, talking, and before they're finished examining and talking about it, becomes such a muddled thing, that it's almost impossible to act on what the original instinct was. So I'm a big proponent for instinctual living, spontaneous living, not allowing the mind to get involved, analyzing, figuring out, and creating a lot of headaches. By the time you finish figuring it out, you've got a migraine. So instinct to me is a really important way of living. It also produces the best art, the best music, the best, and let's take life as a work of art, the best way of living. Now, of course, there has to be discipline, and I mean, you can't walk down the street and somebody you see you want to jump into bed with and then go jump on. I mean, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about conscious instinct, making choices about, things that are really important in your life and trusting yourself. That's the biggest part of instinct, really trusting yourself. You're secure enough to act consciously on that instinct and never do anything to hurt another human being because of it. So I'm a big proponent of inspiration, instinct. I mean, look, I write books and they're all instinctual. I have no idea what I'm writing about when I sit down. And all of a sudden, instinctually, it just comes. And it's basically the best writing I do. If I start thinking about it, it always becomes a mess, you know? So follow your instincts. And even more importantly, build a system inside, that is highly connected to higher creative energy, God, whatever you want to call it. and allow that instinct that comes from that energy to guide your life. That is our responsibility, to build that kind of inner life that's strong enough to connect with spirit. And then allowing that energy to guide us, not by thinking about it, but being open to let it flow through. And it instinctually will do incredible things for a human being's life. That's my feeling about instinct. I'm not a geeky guy, where everything is worked out in the mind and and people become sterile. I mean, when I was younger, I used to study acting in New York when I was younger. And part of learning to be on a stage is you have to be in the moment. You can't be thinking about it. You can't be, you know, acting it. You have to be living in the moment. And that is instinctual living. Being completely alive in the now would be instinctual living.
Thank you.
Well, does anyone else have a question they would like?
Yes.
Just let me finish. Just to finish this up, to do what I'm talking about, you have to be so deeply secure in yourself. And you have to have such a trust for higher energy in the universe that it requires a chakra system that is so strong inside, a grounding that is so deep inside yourself to be able to live that way. You have to be a master of the craft of living, of meditation. Yes, Pat.
Stuart, this applies to my question too, but often in the process of working with someone and asking for healing, I use that mantra that you taught us, God, bathe me in the light of healing, your healing light. And I'm wondering how appropriate it is in the case of asking for that for someone else.
Well, all through this meditation class, in myself, I was asking higher energy, God, for help, for Shakur, to bathe in healing light. Throughout the entire class, I was asking for help for Shakur to bathe in healing, God's healing light. Now, that's not for me, it's for somebody else. Now, you can do this for other people. It's better that if people get strong enough in themselves to do it for themselves, because then there's a direct link between their consciousness and higher energy in the universe. But that takes training. It takes, look, it takes an enormous amount of training. Development of the strength inside to have a direct link with higher energy, to be strong enough to be able to allow that energy to come into your life, to guide you through your karma, through all this stuff that goes on in this kind of stupid world that we live in. And even being a stupid world is still the greatest teacher, because it teaches you also how you don't want to live and what really is important in life, instead of madness falling from the sky. So yes, you can do this for somebody else. But more importantly, I always hope and pray these people learn how to do this for themselves. It will transform the reality that they live in. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? And this is really, it's just such a personal connection that a human being has with higher energy. Connection that can be developed through building your inner life. And then that energy comes. And look, we all live, we all die. But the purpose of all this is to be a happy human being. Then life is successful. Death is, everything is successful. Because then life and death, it all becomes one. It's one, you know, it's just how the soul moves through the universe until it becomes one with higher energy. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, there'll be meditation on Sunday. As I told you all, I'm going to be canceling after the 1st of May that Sunday evening class, mostly because I mean, the 7 classes a week has finally caught up to me. And so if you, well, this doesn't have any relevance to people living in Europe and Israel, but if you live in the United States, well, you're all here, so you must get an invitation. So I'm going to be putting, everybody who wants to attend this afternoon class on my list, and you'll get an invitation. Okay, if there are no more questions, then God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're
Thank you.